Back in early 2011, the Canon Rebel T3i was released as a budget entry-level consumer camera with a starting price of about $800, but 11 years have passed, and as it starts to really show its age, the price drops a lot to just around an average of $270. So now I'm here to answer the question, is this a good camera for YouTube in 2022? Roll the intro. Now this budget camera actually has support for things that most other budget cameras don't support, such as a mic jack, AV out and mini HDMI for webcam streaming, an SD card slot with support for SDXC, meaning cards that are above 32 gigabytes, and a holder for a flash or a microphone. Okay, so enough about the design. What really matters are the pictures that it takes. This camera has an APS-C size 18 megapixel sensor. Now because it's an APS-C size sensor, the picture you take would be cropped about 1.6 times, meaning that the widest zoom that the included kit lens can go, which is 18 millimeters, would be a 28.8 millimeter equivalent, which also means that the maximum zoom, which is 55 millimeters, is an 88 millimeter equivalent, which is pretty cool. The same should apply to any other lens that you put on here. Now what about the speed of the photos? This camera can shoot up to 3.6 pictures per second at its best settings. Here's an example. Not bad. Now, that speed may not be impressive in 2022 because, you know, there are cameras nowadays that can do 10 plus frames per second, but 3.6 is alright for most things, and if you want a faster shutter rate, then like you might as well just take a video, which leads us well into the video portion of this video. So what are the video specs? When you favor the resolution, this camera can record up to 1080p at 30 fps, and if you favor the frame rate, the resolution has to drop down to 720p to film at and up to 60 fps. Now at 1080p 30 fps, the video clarity is decent, and you can push it a little further with extra color grading and digital sharpening in post-processing. So there is one major advantage of a camera over a smartphone, and that would be the lens. So this is the camera on an iPhone XR. This is the lens on the Canon Rebel T3i. Massive difference, right? And that is one of the major advantages of having one of these cameras, which leads us very well into the video limitations of this camera. There's no getting around that the 1080p looks a little bit soft, and the bitrate that the camera records at isn't the best either, and it records at a maximum bitrate of up to 42 megabits per second. But that limitation is absolutely nothing compared to the next one that I'm going to say next, which is the complete lack of autofocus during video mode. So yes, I'm aware that they don't use autofocus in the movie studios, but not having proper autofocus with this camera is kind of a bummer, especially when you work the camera all by yourself, and the newer versions of the Canon Rebel TXi series would actually fix that. So the Canon Rebel T4i has proper autofocus features, except for the fact that it's using the same loud lens that the T3i uses. And the Canon Rebel T5i solves the autofocus noise by coming with a quieter lens. So, conclusion. This is a starter camera that is meant for beginners and is meant to teach you at a basic level what a DSLR is capable of doing. If you are interested in learning about videos and stuff and want an upgrade from your iPhone, go ahead. But just keep in mind the thing I said earlier about the autofocus in this camera. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. It actually took me a while to make, so please subscribe. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye!